Hello everyone, welcome back to the third video of the 36th module, Counseling Approaches, Directive, Non-Directive and Eclectic Counseling. Eclectic Counseling. Eclectic counseling is a style of counseling or therapy that uses techniques drawn from several different schools of thought. Initially, most therapies rigidly adhered to a single approach or school of thought, but eclectic therapy is gaining popularity in the recent years. It is a more flexible approach that allows the counselor to adapt to each client's individual's need. The integration of directive and non-directive counseling is also a type of eclectic counseling. In this type of eclecticism, counseling represents moderation between the two extremes represented by non-directive technique on one hand and then directive technique on the other hand. Here, the counselor's role is to neither too active as in the directive counseling nor too passive as in non-directive counseling. The counselor follows the middle path between these two extremes. The chief advocate of eclectic counseling is F.C. Thorne. In eclectic counseling, the counselor first takes into consideration the personality and the needs of the counseling that seems to serve the purpose base. The counselor may start with the directive technique when the situation demands. He may switch over to the non-directive counseling and vice versa. An attempt is made to adjust the techniques to the requirements of the situation and the individual, that is the client. The counselor in the eclectic counseling uses directive and non-directive counseling and any other types that may be deemed appropriate for the purpose to modify the client's behavior, opinions, and attitude, which causes the problem situation. The learning objective of the third video is to understand the concept, characteristics, process, merits, and demerits of eclectic counseling. Characteristics of eclectic counseling. Following are the important characteristics of the eclectic counseling. The first one is flexibility is the essence of this approach. Freedom of choice and expression is given to both the counselor and the client. Method and techniques of counseling may change from client to client or even with the same client from time to time. Experience of mutual confidence and faith in the relationship are basic foundation of the eclectic counseling. Feelings of comfort are also essential. The philosophical framework and technical orientation are adjusted to serve the needs of the client and goals of the counseling. Assumption of eclectic counseling. Eclectic counseling is based on the following assumptions. First, in general, passive methods should be used when possible. Active methods may be used with specific indication. In the early stages, when the client is telling his story, passive techniques are usually the method of choice. This permits clients to release emotional turmoils. Until simpler methods have failed, complicated methods should not be attempted. All the counseling should be client-centered. Every client should be given an opportunity to resolve his problems non-directly. Inability of the client to progress therapeutically as using passive methods alone is an indication for utilizing more directive methods. Directional methods are usually indicated in situation maladjustments where a solution cannot be achieved without the cooperation from the client. Even if passive method is used in reaching the decision, some degree of directiveness is inevitable in all the counseling process. Steps in eclectic counseling approach. The leading exponent of eclectic counseling, Thorne, suggested the following process of the eclectic counseling. First one is diagnosing the causal factors of the client's problem. Second, analyzing the causal factors to understand its nature, why and how it has become problems. Third one is preparing a tentative plan of action to bring changes in the causal factors. Fourth, securing the effective methods and techniques for counseling. Fifth, interviewing and facilitating the client to develop his own resources and to assume its responsibilities for trying new models of adjustment. Counseling to be effective, the objectives and coordination method of eclectic counseling emphasize that during the counseling process are active role should be given to the client where the counselor remains passive at the beginning of the counseling process. More importance should be assigned to the job efficiency and treatment. Principle of low expenditure is foregrounded. Appropriate method and technique with professional efficiency and skill by the counselor and making an opportunity available to the client is insisted so that he may find himself the solution of the problem. Advantages of eclectic counseling. Eclectic method removes the rigidity of the directive and non-directive methods, hence producing better results. Eclectic is economical and effective if the counselor is proficient in both directive and non-directive method. In eclectic method, strength of one method can be used to compromise the weakness of the other method. Clients' needs are better met to treatment when more options are available. Eclectic therapeutic method treats the entire disorder and not just one symptom. Then what are the limitations of eclectic counseling? The disadvantages elements of the eclectic counseling are eclectic counseling is vague, superficial and opportunistic as it is undefined in many ways. Second, eclecticism of directive and non-directive methods is often criticized as impossible since directive and non-directive methods are too extreme to be merged together. Since there is no definitive framework and principles governing the eclectic counseling, it is unclear as to what extent and in what manner freedom should be given to the client. In spite of the above-mentioned limitations, the eclectic counseling proved to be much practical, valuing the methodology of the counseling. In conclusion, professional counselors apply a variety of counseling approaches in their profession. A directive counseling approach will benefit those who need someone to initiate and take more significant responsibility. And for those clients who can do better with just some support and venting, can go for non-directive counseling. And when a counselor felt that both would not work out for a particular client unless it is integrated method, the counselor can go ahead and use the eclectic method. To conclude, all three approaches have their own merits and demerits. When it comes to counseling, there is no one-size-fits-all method. There is no counseling approach better than the rest. However, it is important to determine the right one best meet the needs of the client. In this video, we have discussed about eclectic counseling. I hope the module has provided you all the solid understanding about three different counseling approaches with reference to directive, non-directive and eclectic counseling approach. Thank you.